You are listening to Religica Theolab blogcast in the Center for Ecumenical and Interreligious Engagement at Seattle University. This blogcast is part of Religica's Faith for Earth blogcast series. In this blogcast, Nitin Ajmera reads the Jain Declaration on Nature.
Jai Jinendra. The Jain ecological philosophy is virtually synonymous with the principles of ahimsa, non-violence, which runs through the tradition like a golden thread. Ahimsa is a principle that Jain teach and practice not only towards human beings but towards all nature. It is an unequivocal teaching that is at once ancient and contemporary. There is nothing so small as the atom, nor any element so vast as space. Similarly, there is no human quality more subtle than nonviolence, and no virtue of spirit greater than reverence for life. The teachings of ahimsa refers not only to physical acts of violence, but also to violence in the hearts and the minds of human beings, their lack of concern and compassion for their fellow humans and for the natural world. Ancient Jain texts explain that violence or himsa is not defined by actual harm, for this may be unintentional. It is the intention to harm, the absence of compassion, that makes an action violent. Without violent thought, there would be no violent actions. Jain cosmology recognizes the fundamental natural phenomena of symbiosis or mutual dependence. All aspects of nature belong together and are bound in a physical as well as metaphysical relationship. Life is viewed as a gift of togetherness, accommodation, and assistance in a universe teeming with interdependent constituents. The Jain Declaration of Nature, Dr. L.M. Singhvi, prepared for the Institute on Jainology and presented on the occasion of the entry of the Jain faith into the Network on Conservation and Religion, London, 1990. See Palmer and Findlay, Faith in Conservation. Ahimsa, non-harming or non-violence, is the central principle of the ancient Jain religion. It is the avoidance of violence in thought, word, and deed, not only to human beings, but to all of nature. It sees life as a pervading even the most tiny and microscopic forms and what may be deemed non-living by others. Non-violence, positively expressed, is reverence for life with love, compassion, and empathy for all living beings at every step of daily life. The Jain religion is the path of the Jinas or victors who showed the way to liberation from suffering and repeated rebirth determined by karma. According to Jain tradition, Mahavira, who lived in North India 2500 years ago, was the 24th and most recent of the Jinas. The Jain religion is known not only for its teachings of non-violence, but also for the asceticism of its monks and nuns who observe rigorous disciplines. It was a strong influence on Gandhi, and today awareness of the Jain teaching of non-violence and its implications for protecting nature is widespread. In the heart of Jain religion is non-violence. Ahimsa parmo dharma. Non-violence is the supreme dharma. All the venerable ones of the past, present, and future discourse, counsel, proclaim, propound, and prescribe thus in unison: do not injure, abuse, oppress, enslave, insult, torment, torture, or kill any creature or living being. Acharanga Sutra 1.4.2, Jain Sutras, page 36. No other creatures love for life, for they are like you. Kill them not. save their life from fear and enmity. All creatures desire to live, not to die. Hence, to kill is to sin. A godly man does not kill. Therefore, do not yourself kill, consciously or unconsciously, living organisms which move or move out, nor cause slaughter of them. He who looks on the creatures of the earth, big and small, as his own self, comprehends this immense world. Among the careless, he who restrains is enlightened. One who neglects or disregards the existence of earth, air, fire, water, and vegetation disregards his own existence, which is entwined with them. Mahavira, as quoted by L.M. Singhvi, the Jain Declaration on Nature, in Jainism and Ecology, Non-Violence in the Web of Life. May I always have a friendly feeling towards all living beings of the world, and may the stream of compassion always flow from my heart towards distressed and afflicted living beings. A Jain prayer in Source Book for the Community of Earth's Religions, page 64. Nature should not be seen in terms of human use, and consumption should be restrained. A monk or nun, seeing big trees in parks, on hills, or in woods, should not speak about them in this way. These trees are fit for palaces, gates, houses, beaches, bowls, buckets, stools, trays, plows, machines, poles, the nave of a wheel, seat, beds, cars, sheds, etc., etc., etc. A monk or nun, seeing big trees in the parks, on hills, or in woods, should speak about them in this way. These trees are noble, high and round, big. They have many branches. They are very magnificent, very beautiful, very fine, very handsome, and. Acharanga Sutra 11.4.2. In the use of Earth's resources, Jains takes their cues from the bee that sucks honey in the blossom of a tree without hurting the blossom and strengthens itself. Wants should be reduced, desires curbed, and consumption's level kept within reasonable limits. Using any resources beyond one's needs and misuse of any part of nature is considered a form of theft. Indeed, the Jain faith goes one radical step further and declares unequivocally that waste and creating pollution are acts of violence. L.M. Singhvi, the Jain Declaration on Nature. The Jain religion is not human-centered or anthropocentric. The concept of universal interdependence underpins the Jain theory of knowledge, known as Anekantvad, or the doctrine of manifold aspects. Anekantvad describes the world as a multifaceted, ever-changing reality with an infinity of viewpoints depending on the time, place, nature, and state of the one who is the viewer and which is viewed. This leads to the doctrine of Syadvad or relativity, which states that truth is relative to different viewpoints or nayas. What is true from one point of view is open to question from another. Absolute truth cannot be grasped from any particular viewpoint alone because absolute truth is a sum total of all of the different viewpoints that make up the universe. Because it is rooted in the doctrines of Anekantvad and Syadvad, Jainism does not look upon the universe from an anthropocentric, ethnocentric or egocentric viewpoints. It takes into account the viewpoints of all species, other communities and nations, and other human beings. L.M. Singhvi from the Jain Declaration on Nature. Non-violence is the highest religious duty. We are connected and consciously and unconsciously with all living beings, angels, bugs, grass birds, etc. We all come from the same source, and just as one has to soften the land before planting seeds, we must soften our hearts and minds completely before feelings of friendship can grow within ourselves. Acharya Sushil Kumar. More than the absence of violence for contemporary Jains, ahimsa includes activism in matters such as peace, the environment, animal welfare, and the alleviation of poverty. Jain ashrams promote international non-violence, peace, and harmony, spreading the message of ahimsa and anikantvad, the belief that no one has a monopoly on the truth, both in the East and West. Jainipedia, http://jainpedia.org/. Jai Jinendra and thank you.